When you're ready to go.
Okay. Good evening. I am Rod Johnson, the owner and founder of Midwest Mountaineering, and I'd like to share with you this evening the Midwest Mountaineering story from when I started in my kitchen in 1970 to the present day. When I started Midwest Mountaineering in 1970, I started for one reason. I was very poor. I had $500 to my name, and I wanted to get gear for myself for wholesale. My dad had some stationery that said the Johnson Company on it. So I used this Johnson Company stationery to write in and get dealerships. Back in 1970, there really wasn't anyone else, so it was easy to get dealerships. This is a shingle I made from a door panel that hung outside of my kitchen. You can see some lessons here. Number of these slides are from lessons I've learned running Midwest Mountaineering. And lesson number one is just go for it. What happened was I decided to do a real low budget trip around the world. And this was in 1970. And with the start of 1971, I was on the Amazon River. And the Amazon River is huge. And I was on a riverboat going down the Amazon River, and you could see in the distance one green bank, and on the other side of the boat, another green bank. And it was very boring, day after day of nothing but green on the shore. So I was bored, and I decided I should do something with my life. So I decided to hop a flight. And I was able to get a flight from Iquitos, Peru to Miami for $90 and go home and open up a storefront from my kitchen. And just going for it has kind of always been one of my mottos. So I had an empty backpack and I hitchhiked to California to Sharon Equipment Company. And I filled my backpack with 100 pounds of climbing gear. And that pack was so heavy that when I would hoist it up on my leg to put one arm through it, my leg actually got bruised. And then I hitchhiked back home again. And I found out that this was one of my poorer ideas because it was a lot of work just to get 100 pounds of gear back. So thereafter, my lesson was just have it shipped UPS. So I went to I was looking for places to rent for Midwest Mountaineering. And if you look down in the lower right-hand corner, this was on Hennepin Avenue, 1408 Hennepin. And I talked to the landlord, Abner Freeman, and he was renting space for $65 a month. And I asked him, well, would you take $50 a month until I get going? That way I'd have a better chance of succeeding and you would have more of a long-term tenant. And he said, okay. So for the first few months, I only paid $50 a month. And this was really a good deal because I didn't have a place to live, so I lived in the back too. Here it was, we moved up in the world, we had an illuminated sign. A lot of Midwest Mountaineering in the old days revolved around Devil's Tower. Before I started Midwest Mountaineering, I joined the University of Minnesota Rovers Outing Club. And after I had been with the Rovers for about a month and a half, rock climbing at Taylor's Falls and Devil's Lake, we went to Devil's Tower. They let me come with. It was a group of 6 people. And it was a really hot day in July, and it was just a horrendous climb. We ran out of water on the top of the second pitch. Our rappel ropes jammed on the way down. It took all day, and it was just an ascent in a very, very poor style, which really bothered me. So I wanted to come back, and you see me there with Pat Paddant, one of Midwest Mountaineering's first employees, and we went to Devil's Tower and did really an excellent job of climbing it. Since then, Pat and I have been to Devil's Tower many times, doing ascents in as little as 2 hours. And we put up a tower classic climb, first ascent, O Craco Diablo, which is one of the most popular routes on the tower now. So, so much for rock climbing. I decided it would be fun to do some mountaineering. So we decided to go and climb Denali, which was then called Mount McKinley back in 1973. So I loaded up my backpack with rocks. This was in the Chiricahua National Monument in Arizona. And I went backpacking with not only my backpacking gear, but with a bunch of rocks too to get in shape. If you are a retailer without adequate financing, you can get by if you sell your inventory before you have to pay for it. So I had $500. I was a hippie with long hair. I didn't even approach a bank to try to get a loan. I figured that, they would think that this hippie with long hair would get a bunch of money and then take off to Mexico and never pay it back. So I didn't even ask. But I had some things going for me. What we would do is when the bills were due, if it was during an off season and we didn't have the money to pay the bills, we would put everything in the store on sale. And we still occasionally, like at our Outdoor Adventure Expo, will have a coupon for 20% off retail and almost everything. Another thing that really helped me get by without any money starting Midwest Mountaineering is I am a minimalist. And big wall climbing in Yosemite, this is on El Capitan. You have to haul all of your water and food and climbing gear and sleeping gear and everything up the big wall with you. So you actually take a very minimal amount of things. This is the northwest face of Half Dome, the same year in 1976. Since I am a minimalist, ultralight backpacking came natural for me. And I've written guides on it. My record for ultralight backpacking trip is a 76-mile, 4-day trip on the Pacific Crest Trail with a 2-pound backpack total weight. To do this, I had a 1-pound Western Mountaineering sleeping bag, a 6-ounce Montville waterproof breathable sleeping bag cover, bivy sack, a 6.5-ounce backpack, specially built for me by Cook Custom Sewing, and some bubble wrap to sleep on. I carried my energy bars in my pockets so to keep my pack weight down, and I had a hip water belt holster. To help sales and cash flow, we started running coupons. And this is for $1, but back in 1972, $1 in today's money would be worth $5 to $10. So we got a lot of students from the University of Minnesota crossing the downtown area, and we had 285 people redeem this coupon. You must try lots of ideas in order to find one really good idea. So I'll talk about some of the good ideas and bad ideas I've had over the years. This is just a fun picture. I'm the bandito on the left, and there's other staff here, just having fun at the Hennepin Avenue store. My first employee was Bob Richardson. And since I only had $500 and I put it all in inventory, I couldn't pay him any wages. So the deal was he was going to get half of the profits. However, it took us 5 years before we made any money. So Bob Richardson took off and found a different job in short order. And I don't blame him at all. But anyhow, we went to Yosemite Valley and climbed the Royal Arches. And that's when I fell in love with Yosemite climbing. When I first entered Yosemite Valley, I saw this huge 3,000-foot granite monolith called El Capitan. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, that looks impossible to climb. I wonder if anyone's ever climbed that. And I asked around, and indeed, people did climb it. So I put that on my list of things to do. And I made 5 attempts on El Capitan before I finally succeeded in climbing it in 3.5 days in 1976. And in 1976, we also climbed the northwest face of Half Dome. There I am. You can see all kinds of long hair sticking out, which I no longer have. In 1976, also, we moved to the West Bank. They tore our old store down on 14th and Hennepin to build a parking ramp for the community college there. So we moved to the West Bank, and we got these really cool old buildings. We had no money to rehab the space at 309 Cedar, since all my money was in inventory and it was only $500 to begin with anyhow. So I got some friends together and we formed Donkey Construction. And here's the Donkey Construction people. I'm the middle guy in the red tank top. Again, you can see all that hair. But we got the building looking good. This is by the front door in the main room. We have a climb that we built across the ceiling, and there's Pat Padden climbing it. If you were a customer and climbed it, you get a free case of beer. In the main room, there was a platform with my desk on it. And I have two interesting stories for my desk. One story is that the president of the Riverside Bank across the street walked in one day and asked if I wanted to borrow any money. I couldn't believe that anyone would lend me money, a hippie as I was. But I went over and borrowed $50,000. Then I was able to put that into inventory, and then Midwest Mountaineering grew very fast after that. The other story is the Fisher ski rep came in, and Midwest Mountaineering had no air conditioning in those days, and it was probably a hot July day, so I had no shirt on. And since I was behind my desk, you couldn't see if I was wearing any clothes or not. And the Fisher ski rep said, oh, I thought you didn't have any clothes on. So I'll talk about some of our bad ideas. We have a catalog. We tried internet sales. It didn't work, so we discontinued that. And we still don't do internet sales today because we like one-on-one experience with a customer so we can answer their questions and help them better prepare for their outdoor adventures. Trust your gut to do the right thing, which is very often the harder thing to do. And it's very often the thing that doesn't make you as much money. But for the long term, it's really the way to go because it's sustainable. People will actually trust you if they know that you really want to do the right thing. Make sure everyone wins in your dealings, your customers, your staff, your business, and yourself. And if you aren't, if all four of these groups aren't winning, it would be hard for your business to succeed. For instance, if you raise your prices to make more money for yourself and your business, then your customers aren't going to like that. They'll probably shop elsewhere. This was a training climb for Mount Everest on Denali or Mount McKinley at the time. After climbing, putting up a new classic route on Devil's Tower and climbing El Capitan and Half Dome, the next natural step was to do some big mountains, and there's nothing bigger than Mount Everest. We called our group of climbers the Midwest Wine Tasters. And in 1973, when we were trying to taste wine on the top of Denali, we couldn't because the wine had frozen. Here's the Minnesota Everest attempt. There is, I think, a picture of me on the Kumbo Icefall taken by Pat Padden. So this was probably the lowest budget expedition to Mount Everest ever. Our budget was $2,000. And we didn't have enough money for a permit, so we kind of snuck up. We didn't have enough money for oxygen, so we were doing it. It had never been climbed without oxygen. We didn't have enough money to climb an expedition style, so we were trying it alpine style. So we were trying all these new things, and we backed off, which was probably a good thing. There's Pat jumping over a crevasse. Climbing Mount Everest was always something in the back of my mind. However, there's a very high death rate on Mount Everest. And if something happened to me, it would be very bad for Midwest Mountaineering. So I haven't gone back and made another attempt. Also, we tried a store in downtown St. Paul, which was a huge failure. It lost a lot of money. So I said that I'm not going to open multiple stores. I can expand at one location, but I want to be hands-on, be able to walk through the store and see everything, walk down in the basement, check out our inventory, and interact with the customers better and employees. This is back to Cedar Riverside. This is the back of our main room. We have platforms. You can see the platform with our camping gear on. We had a rental department. We've always had a lot of climbing gear. That's our name, Midwest Mountaineering. This is our clothing room. You couldn't even see out the front window. And one of my good ideas was Thrifty Outfitters. And William Neely made this little cartoon for us. And Thrifty Outfitters, if you can fit into a sample size, you can save 50%. It's really a great deal. The staff and myself frequently shop Thrifty Outfitters because you get exactly the same thing, but you get it for half price. But you have to be a sample size, which generally for men is medium. There's a few larges, and for women, it's usually smalls with some mediums. I was able to move my office up to second floor. Again, you can see I've aged a bit in the years. Running a business like a democracy or commune doesn't work well. When I first started Midwest Mountaineering, I had all these ideas about employees running and owning the business. We would have store meetings where everyone would get together and we'd all vote on decisions. And the employees would get free stock every year, so the employees were part owner too. And I found that it just does not work well at all, because a lot of the staff really didn't have the knack for making good retail business decisions. So I came to the conclusion that good business decisions are more likely to be made if they are made by the most talented people. So my management committee and I are the ones that make most of the decisions. We get a lot of feedback from the other staff though, and that works. One of our other great ideas is our outdoor adventure expos. And the first one was in 1985, and we called it the Great Minnesota Canoe Event, and it was at the State Fairgrounds. This is the second year in the education building. Our outdoor adventure expos did a lot of things. They got people excited about getting outdoors. They were able to get good deals. It helped people meet each other and get ideas on where to go and build the start of the Midwest Mountaineering outdoor community. There's one of our recent expos. And this was one of our first winter expos. It was in the St. Paul Civic Center. We've always had lots of programs to give people ideas on things to do outdoors. And the staff loves to party after the expos. We had a lot of really great parties. One party that was really fun, we had it at the Twins Motor Inn after the expo at the St. Paul Civic Center, and my staff snuck up on me and grabbed me and threw me in the hot tub. And by the end of the evening, everyone had gotten thrown in the hot tub. Although my bookkeeper, I had a problem with that because the ink in my checkbook ran, and the bookkeeper had a hard time figuring out what checks I had written. Live your dreams. A lot of people work hard, they save up a bunch of money, they retire, and then they live their dreams. But the kind of dreams I have of climbing El Capitan and putting up first descents of wild rivers, are something that it's much harder to do when you're older. So I did these throughout the 50 years of Midwest mountaineering. And actually, now that I'm old enough to retire, I have built up more business skills and I spend more time just running the business. So I've kind of done the opposite of what a lot of people do. So I'll go over a few of my dreams. Here I am yachting in the Bahamas with a sailing kayak. And I tried to do some firsts. No one, as far as my research goes, had ever kayaked across South America. So I tried to do a solo expedition in 1992. And I went across South America except for the Andes. I wasn't able to get my kayak over the glaciers. This is our bouldering climbing cave below the boat room at Midwest Mountaineering, which is free, although we've had it closed for the pandemic. We hope to have it open and before the year end. And winter camping, the employees have often done a winter camping trip, an annual winter camping trip. Exploring things that had never been done. The Victoria Nile River had never been descended. So I thought I'd try to first descent to that. Huge whitewater. And when I got down about halfway to through the Victoria Nile River descent, just before I entered Murchison Falls National Park, a ranger approached me and gave me a letter strongly urging me to not go through this park because that year 6 people had been eaten by crocodiles. And there was a South African rafting expedition with 2 rafts that went down. The crocodiles attacked one raft and punctured it and sank it, and the people barely escaped with their lives in the other raft, and that ended the expedition. So wisely, I abandoned that expedition. And we went down below the Murchison Falls National Park and continued the expedition. So we didn't do a full first descent. And even below the falls, I got chased by a crocodile, which was really, really scary. Yeah, I was by myself in a kayak.
How'd you get the kayak there?
We rented a car.
Oh, okay.
Trying another first, I went back to Patagonia to try to cross South America by kayak again with my friend Hans Arlton in 2001. And again, we had the same problem. We kayaked across South America except for the Andes. We couldn't get across the Andes with our kayaks. Some events the employees have participated in. Midwest Mountaineering had a book club, and one of our books was Down the Great Unknown by John Wesley Powell about his first descent in 1876 of the Green and Colorado rivers. He did his descent in a wooden dory, and I thought this would be really great to duplicate his descent. But I had an aluminum dory, which was much sturdier and hopefully could survive Disaster Falls, where one of his wooden dories was broken into many pieces. This is probably the greatest trip ever that I've done. It took 2 months to go down, and I learned how to paddle a dory. I learned how to do big whitewater. It was just an amazing trip. In 2010, Backpacker Magazine and Snooze awarded Midwest Mountaineering the best overall retailer of the year award, which is a national award. And there I am being presented with the plaque at the Outdoor Retailer Show. One thing that I've done a lot of, Sharon and I have done a lot of, is we've done adventures all over the world. And when we come back, we do a show and tell our customers how they can go and do the same thing. And here we are doing the Wonderland Trail around Mount Rainier. A couple of my employees and friends have done the PCT, and I thought, well, this would be really great. So in 2009, I started at the Mexican border and ended up at the Canadian border hiking 1,000 miles. The PCT is longer than 1,000 miles, so I skipped the boring sections. Just did the really scenic sections. There you can see my Cook custom sewing pack made locally in Minneapolis. And that's my 6.5 ounce pack. One thing that makes life a lot easier for me is I assume that people have good intentions. I trust them until I find out otherwise. If you're always not trusting people, it makes life very difficult. Giving back is something that has happened to me more and more over the years. At first, Midwest Mountaineering was just a way to get gear for myself for wholesale. Then it was doing a business. And then it formed a purpose of a way to form an outdoor Midwest Mountaineering outdoor community that would get people excited and encouraged to get outdoors more. One thing that we've done a number of times is the Brian Coyle Center is a block from Midwest Mountaineering. And there are a lot of Somalian immigrants in the neighborhood, and we took them half a dozen times down to Lake Nokomis to give him an opportunity to kayak and canoe around. We also took them on a big city mountaineers trip to the Boundary Waters, of which I was one of the leaders. This is the last slide. The person in the jacket on the left is Hans Arlton, one of my paddling partners from South America, Sharon in the middle, and me on the right. We had just completed the 225-mile John Muir Trail, which ends on the summit of Mount Whitney, the highest peak in the lower 48. And now I'll like to open up the show to questions. So
just read them out loud here.
Okay.
Got a few questions. Do you have a favorite piece of gear that you just can't live without over all these years? Or
I think one of my favorite pieces of gear is the 6.5 ounce backpack that I use for hiking the Pacific Crest Trail that Cook Custom Sewing built for me. And I had them do 2 of them for me. We sold them in Midwest Mountaineering for a while, and they did not sell very well. Very few people are as minimalist as I am. One person actually bought one and they returned it because they couldn't get all their gear in it. You have to be very minimalist to be able to use one, but it's one of my favorite pieces of gear.
Yeah. It was you kind of alluded to it earlier, but your most memorable trip,
yes,
my trip.
Right. My most memorable trip was the 1,000-mile 2-month descent of the Green and Colorado rivers. And going through the Grand Canyon especially, there was some really huge whitewater. And at one point, my aluminum dory got washed really hard against the side of one of the canyons at the Horn Creek Rapids and made a big bang and a big dent in the dory. There was another aluminum dory just like mine that went down, except it was a blue color. And that flipped over in one of the rapids. One of the big holes, it got sideways to a hole, which you never want to do when you're going through a hole and get sideways in it because it'll flip you over for sure. And so anyhow, that was my most memorable.
Was that a solo trip?
No. I actually Sharon and I did the Green River, and then when we got down to the Colorado River, we had 18 Midwest Mountaineering employees and friends join us.
Oh, nice.
And that was like a 18-day trip. And the Grand Canyon, if you ever get a chance to do a paddling or raft trip through the Grand Canyon, it was rated by Backpacker Adventure Travel magazine as the #1 trip rafting down the Grand Canyon. And it's not just the whitewater. There's so many really cool side canyons that you can hike up and slot canyons. It's just an amazing place. Grand Canyon.
Nice. Obviously, you've been in the industry a long time, and I'm wondering about personally any sort of maybe what you see for the future as far as the outdoor industry, locally owned shops or versus big box or anything like that. Um, or maybe trends in the industry that maybe you wish were still around, or maybe trends that you would like to see.
I think a locally owned specialty business stands a good chance of competing with the big box stores, including REI. And a lot of people will start with getting their gear at REI, and then they will advance to more sophisticated backpacking, climbing, paddling trips, and they will come to Midwest Mountaineering to get the expert advice from the people that have been there, and they can tell them exactly what to do and hook them up with exactly the right gear. A good example of this is Cheryl Strayed in her book Wild. Was outfitted at REI with a pack that was so heavy she couldn't even lift it when she was doing the Pacific Crest Trail. And when I started the Pacific Crest Trail, my pack was probably around 15 pounds and super light.
Yeah, that's quite a bit different. Any long trips or any other expeditions that you'd like to do in the coming years?
Well, it seems like I've hiked on and climbed and paddled on 6 of the 7 continents. I haven't made it to Antarctica yet.
Oh, wow.
But I'm really happy just sharing my experiences with other people. And I do have a cabin up on the North Shore, and I spend a lot of time up there hiking. And my current project is trying to get the Split Rock River bridge rebuilt on the Split Rock River Loop. And I was just up there the other weekend draining some of the mud traps.
Yeah, it seems like he's really close to your place and near and dear. That's great. Let's see, there's a question here. So, I'm curious about sort of maybe what it means to you, sort of, I've worked here for almost 10 years or so, and maybe how your perception of being sort of the outdoor shop in Minneapolis proper. We have, we're surrounded by a few other outdoor shops, locally owned and otherwise, but, we are, I think, a bit of a destination place. We're kind of right in the heart of the city, and just how that's been an experience for you, versus being maybe out in the suburbs or something like that. Have you always been kind of a city kid, or?
I've lived in South Minneapolis my entire life. And so it's just natural that I would start Midwest Mountaineering in Minneapolis. I think it's very centrally located. If you took a map of the Twin Cities and put a pin right in the center, you'd probably hit Midwest Mountaineering. So it's very accessible. It's right near the 35W and I-94. And the building is just so cool. I mean, it was built in like 1895, and it just reeks with character. It just feels like an outdoor store. I don't know if we'd ever be able to duplicate that anywhere else. However, lately I've been toying around with an idea of having an outdoor retail mega hub, where you would have a number of outdoor retail stores together. And what comes to mind is the REI Bloomington store and Midwest Mountaineering across the parking lot from them, and some other outdoor retail stores right in the area. So someone could drive to this outdoor retail mega hub, and they could go to different outdoor retail stores. Maybe they're price shopping, maybe they just want expert advice. Maybe there would be an adventure travel outfitter there. So anyhow, that's one of my goals for the future is to be part of this outdoor retail mega hub.
Nice. Let's see here. coming in here. Any sort of memorable experiences here in the store that really stand out, outfitting someone like a celebrity or anything, anyone doing any trips that you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. I would like to do something like that. We've had a lot of professionals come to the store, a lot of athletes, locally and internationally known.
The people that we've had come through the store, Anne Bancroft was an employee of Midwest Mountaineering at one time, and of course she's done all kinds of Arctic and Antarctic adventures. Will Steger is a frequenter of Midwest Mountaineering. Lonnie Dupree, Eric Larson, Jim Klobuchar used to come through Midwest Mountaineering a lot. One story that's really funny is we used to have a big sunglasses wall, and a customer came in and was trying on sunglasses and said, you know, with these sunglasses on, I look kind of like Walter Matthau. And actually it was Walter Matthau. He was in the store filming Grumpy Old Men.
That's funny.
Another funny story is this was back in the 70s, in the days that were really wild. Right across the street from Midwest Mountaineering is now the Red Sea Bar. At the time, it was Caesar's Bar. And I had a complaint from the owner of Caesar's, David Lee, that my employees were mooning his customers. So I talked to my staff about that, and they said, well, there was the customers from Caesar's Bar were calling us and were offering us free beer if we would moon. Yeah, those days are long gone.
There's a question here regarding like just sort of overall changes in the industry. You know, things that you like, or things that you're maybe I don't want anything to do with that.
Well, yeah, overall changes in the industry over the years. Well, when Midwest Mountaineering started out, we were backpacking and climbing. And then we added on cross-country skiing. And we didn't add on paddle sports until probably 1977 when we moved to Cedar Riverside. The growth of skiing and paddle sports was just phenomenal. We would sell hundreds and hundreds of pairs of skis, cross-country skis a year. We would sell hundreds of boats, and we no longer sell as many cross-country skis or boats anymore. Although with the pandemic, there's been a resurgence in paddling and skiing and snowshoeing and camping too. We have a hard time keeping gear in stock, so it's a good idea to get your gear early while it's still available. We had a lot of trouble in the past year getting certain camping, paddling, skiing, snowshoeing gear in stock at all. And even clothing, there's almost no reorder capability. A lot of the smaller shops have gone out of business. REI has become a huge player, you know, billion-dollar player in the industry, and I'm not sure exactly how many stores they have, 176 or something. You know, they get a lot of customers at first, but still there's a place for the real specialty stores like Midwest Mountaineering, although there are fewer of us around.
Got a comment here. Their comment is, so grateful for the expos, a high point of our spring and fall. Thank you so much for this. What's in it for you? Seems like it would be quite a pricey outlay for you using so much space at the U. I don't know if this customer understands that we are currently not using the university just through the pandemic. That's hence why a lot of these presentations are virtual. I always wonder about this when enjoying the programs. So I guess what the question is, what's in it for you?
What's in it for me is I get a really good feeling getting people outdoors and having fun outdoor adventures. I've done all these things myself, and now it's time for me to help other people. And one of my main concerns is next month I will be 72, and it's getting someone to run Midwest Mountaineering because I won't be able to do it forever.
Yeah, the expo. You said this was expo number.
The first one was in 1985, so that's 35 years of expos to a year. So this is, I think, our 70th expo.
Wow, wow.
And it isn't the money. When we get new staff in, we have a sales training guide, and our number one goal is getting our customers outdoors having fun. And our number two goal is to sell them the gear and apparel they need so they can have more fun doing it. But selling gear isn't our number one goal, it's our number two goal. So there again, a lot of satisfaction from helping people have more fun outdoors.
Yeah, we definitely get a wide variety of customers. You talk about that resurgence, people that are, no matter what age, just getting into hiking or getting back into paddling and this and that. And we have our staff, I think, also reflects that. We have veterans that have worked here for a long time. We have a lot of newer staff that are kind of in that maybe somewhat similar place. So I think, through experience and education, we can help our customers better sort of achieve their outdoor goals at least.
And we encourage our staff to have outdoor adventures too, because if customers have questions and the employee has done it, they can give better advice.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see here. I personally have a question. Is there a place that you mentioned the 6 of the 7 continents, and Antarctica would be a nice big box to check perhaps for you, but is there some place or a specific, could be something really specific like a climb or a destination that you have not made it to that you're like, that I don't know if I'll get there just due to the situation that we're in with the pandemic, or just seems kind of like.
I think the only thing that I really haven't done that's been a big goal is climbing Mount Everest. And I think the death rate is somewhere around 10%. And, I actually could take that kind of risk for myself, but the fallout to Midwest Mountaineering would be really bad. So yeah. I've not done
that. Let's see if we got any more questions coming in. Not seeing any, but let's see here. So I'm personally hoping. I've been a part of these expos now for a number of years, and I've had my hands in several buckets of the expos with setup or presenting. One thing that I'm really looking forward to is hopefully getting back to having the more of the live presentations and the Banff Film Festival here in town. Such a big element of the show, and I know that we're probably all. Some of us have, some of the viewers at home watching, are hoping to maybe one day be able to attend some of these presentations in the store. So I wanted to make a comment that I'm thankful to have been a part of the expos in the past and see what they've been like, and hope to help us get us back to that similar type of experience.
Yeah, I have found that live presentations have more energy, really positive energy than a virtual presentation, because you'll get customers asking questions during the presentation, and one customer's questions will feed another customer's questions. And there's a lot of positive energy, a huge amount of positive energy you get from a live presentation. So in the future, we may be doing a combination of live and virtual presentations when the pandemic is over.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question. How did you and Sharon meet, and when did you meet?
Yes. after Hans Arlton and I, the guy in the red shirt, I got back from Patagonia. I did Slideshow for the Kekakopic Trail Club, of which Sharon was a member. This was back in 2001, the same year that Hans and I did the expedition. And I was talking to Sharon afterwards and had mentioned that I was thinking of doing the John Muir Trail. And she said, yeah, I was thinking of doing that too. So then I called Sharon up and asked her out to dinner and to talk about possibly going and doing the John Muir Trail. And in 2002, the next year, we did the John Muir Trail, and we did it with Hans too.
Nice.
And the year after that, we were married.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's see here. Rod, any sort of hopes for the outdoor industry moving forward, either locally or on a larger scale that maybe you're thinking it would be nice to see, be it from an environmental aspect or a consumer aspect, just anything that you're like, I hope that, I'm personally hoping that customers just stay active in the outdoors. I mean, the outdoors has done so much, has given back to me so much that I feel like in my position here at the store, I'm able to help the customers in a way experience that.
There are so many great reasons to do things outdoors. It does so much for a person that I hope that more people will do more outdoor stuff. I mean, we're genetically, biologically engineered to be outdoors. I mean, from the caveman days, when they used to live outdoors all the time to well, now some people hardly ever go outdoors, and I think people are so much happier, and I think people are nicer to each other if they spend more time outdoors. They're more considerate of each other. I think it's just a better world if people spend more time outdoors. So that's my hope that people will continue to spend more time outdoors, because that's basically how we're engineered.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Any other unique stories that are memorable or PG rated, perhaps? We've had some wild times here at the store. A lot of great parties and with customers and just with staff, reps and vendors. It's been a nice, really, really big family. It feels like an extended family for me, for sure.
Bill Kaplan from Wilderness Experience back in the old days was doing a wilderness experience clinic at Midwest Mountaineering in the evening after we were closed. And we set up one of their 4-person tents, and we stuffed 22 employees in it on a 4-person tent. That was kind of fun.
Interesting. I imagine there was some ales involved there or something.
We also got a picture, I think it was in the Star Tribune, during a really heavy rainstorm, of an employee kayaking in the street outside of on Cedar Avenue.
Yeah,
it's a very fun picture.
There's been a few times I think you've skied from your house to the shop, right?
Normally, the first snowfall of the year, I live a mile from Midwest Mountaineering, and I ski into Midwest Mountaineering with the first good snowfall of the year.
Nice. We got just a couple minutes left here, another 4 or so minutes. Don't see any other questions popping up, but just want to say thanks to everyone who's viewing right now. These are all being recorded and are going to be archived to our YouTube page, Midwest Mountaineering. They'll also be saved to the OutdoorAdventureExpo.com site. So if you missed anything, you can drag the slider all the way back to the beginning, or come back in a day or two when it's uploaded and rewatch it from the beginning, including this presentation and any one that you may have missed. We have, I think, about 45 presentations over a 10-day period here over the expo, and we have a few live presentation or in-person live presentations on Saturday with Dan Cook from Cook Custom Sewing. But all these are free to attend virtually. we look forward to seeing you in the chat box. I just want to thank everyone for supporting the store, supporting the outdoors, and let us know how we can help you achieve your outdoor goals. We're here at the shop at 309 Cedar Avenue South. We are doing curbside sales, in-store shopping, etc. We're here and available for any questions you may have.
The reason Dan Cook is doing the live presentation is how to set up tarps. He manufactures tarps in St. Paul, and he's also the one that manufactured my favorite item, my 6.5 ounce backpack.
Yeah. Fantastic. He's a very, very excellent craftsperson and makes a great product. Cook Custom Sewing. I think looking around the shop, we definitely sell some of the larger brands, your Patagonia, your North Face, Mountain Hardware. The list goes on and on and on. One thing that I really like about our store here as well, and I assume this to be true at other retail shops around the country, is that we actually also sell a lot of local and regionally made stuff, like Cook Custom Sewing or Sven Saw or Trailtopia or all these other brands. So it's a nice mix of cottage industry, boutique brands, and these larger brands too. It's a nice curated mix here at the store.
And through May 2nd, everything in the store is on sale.
That's right. Be sure to check your emails for additional coupons and information regarding the expo. This really kicks off kind of our spring, summer outdoor adventure season. We have a lot of excited staff here to help you with any questions you may have in person or with a phone or email. So again, I can't express enough how we love to help people get outdoors, and we love a little bit of a challenge. We even offer things like pack shakedowns if you got a long hike coming up and want us to kind of go through some of your gear and look for redundancies or ways to cut weight. We're happy to do that. We have in-store shopping before the store opens by appointment if you'd like that as well. We're happy to accommodate most requests, so just let us know how we can help you. And I guess with that, I'm just going to thank Rod personally for creating such a great environment here at the store, for having the idea to go pick up 100 pounds of climbing gear. And, it's been great working here at the shop, and I look forward to many more days here at the store. Any closing remarks, Rod?
I'd like to thank our customers for keeping us in business for 50 years.
Sounds great. All right. Then with that being said, we'll say good night. Just one last comment says, thank you so much. Lovely store, great store, wonderful life. Thank you so much for all you do to inspire us. Thank you. We really can't do without the customers as well. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Good evening, everyone.